Hello and welcome back to No Longer Legally Detained, the podcast about life after the psych ward. How do you navigate being an adult when you never expected to be one? And firstly, apologies for being gone for, I think it's been 2 weeks. I have had a crazy June. So let's catch up on what's been going on. And sorry if you can hear the fan in the background. I don't know whether, I imagine most people who listen to this, which is probably not many, so you're a very special audience from the UK, and it is so hot. Part of the reason why I've kind of not done a podcast for a while, because I have been so busy, and in the heat I'm so ridiculously heat intolerant that it makes me so poorly and it makes me so exhausted and tired that I have to preserve the energy that I have. So unfortunately this has been the thing that's had to kind of go to the side, but I'm now on my summer holidays from uni. So although that doesn't actually mean I've got any more time in July, I feel like, I don't know, it's a mindset thing. But Ted's is here and I feel like we have had such an adventure this June, and I thought we'd start off with just filling in on what we've done, what we've been up to, and kind of the cool opportunities we've had, because I feel like if little Hannah from a few years ago would never have believed where we are now and what we're doing. So I think since we last spoke, I've been to Strasbourg, which was absolutely amazing. So for those of you who don't know, I am an I Will ambassador for the I Will movement, and the I Will movement is basically a social action movement of young people, celebrating young people who are making a difference, making a change in the world, specifically in the UK. And they took 9 ambassadors to the European Youth event in Strasbourg, and I got chosen to be one of those young people, which was really, really special. I've not been abroad since 2015, and yeah, it was such a cool opportunity. Traveling was a lot. It took a long time because we got the Eurostar to Paris and then the train from Paris to Strasbourg. It was also ridiculously hot. One of the days we were there, it went up to 38 degrees. And I am so, as I said, tolerant. It's actually bad. It was really, really not having fun in the heat, but it was such a cool opportunity. It was really cool to be able to go and experience the European Parliament. It was really interesting, and there's definitely lots of things that I made me think about and lots of things to talk about. I don't think I'm gonna do that right here, right now, because I need to think about what I'm gonna say. But yeah, it was so cool, and all the people I went with were amazing. I stayed. I was in a room with Molly and Lily. Those, some of you might know Lily. She is an amazing a youth advocate as well. She heads Be the Change Media Network, which this podcast used to we kind of joined for a bit and then we split off again. But where my other podcast that I do, You Don't Need a Hamster, You Need a Therapist, sits under Lily's brand of Be the Change Media Network, which was really cool. And I also got to get to know better Molly, who is another absolutely phenomenal youth activist, specifically in the loneliness space, and has lots of quite similar experiences to me. And it was just really lovely to I think as survivors of difficult childhoods, it can feel really isolating and lonely. Lots of people don't get it, which is completely understandable, because unless you've been there you don't get it, but it can lead to you feeling really isolated and alone. It was really obviously nice. I obviously wish that Molly hadn't experienced it, just the same that I wish I hadn't experienced it, but seeing as we both had, it was nice to meet someone else who kind of gets it. And yeah, it was really lovely to make those connections. I also met another young person called Tanya, and it was just really cool because she does very similar activism to me. So it was really cool to hopefully, I'm really hoping that in the future me and her will get to do some more work together. And yeah, just everybody on the trip was really lovely. Henry, Claire, Felucio, Serena, Finley, gotta remember the names, it feels like ages ago. But yeah, it was just really cool to be able to meet more young people and kind of who have a similar passion to me. So that was really cool. Then last weekend I went to Telford with the Just Treatment. Beverly's just messaged me, "You are deep," because I just told her I'm going to meet a friend. I put a quote you can get more money but you can't, because I'm really actually quite poor, but some money came in today saying, yeah, I think you can get more money but you can't get memories back or whatever. And then she's just replied, "You are deep." Amazing. Anyway, yeah, last weekend I went to Telford, Shropshire, with the Just Treatment group, with the Mad Youth Organise, and they're a campaign group for
supporting young people mental health, and then they have two strands. So just treatment is like an activism kind of campaign group, and then within that they have two, like, or I think maybe three different campaigns, and I'm involved in the Mad Youth Organised one of like getting young people with severe and enduring mental illness like better treatment and kind of things like that. So yeah, that was really cool. I was really exhausted because I'd been kind of non-stop, but it was really, I'm glad I went. I was like, oh, do I not, but I'm glad I did go because it just gave me a bit more of a sense of like what they do, and hopefully in the future, like if I go to things with them, I'll like know a bit more about what I'm doing. And then as well as that, as you can see, it's been very busy. I have done 2 out of my 3 talks at the Autism and ADHD show. So I spoke on the Friday in London at the London Business Centre, and the Friday in Birmingham at the NEC. And my talk is Authentic and Alive, how ADHD and creativity helped me reclaim my identity. After this talk on Saturday, I'm going to do an episode a bit about what I spoke about, but I'm leaving it until after that so that anyone who's coming on Saturday gets to kind of hear it for the first time. And so if anyone would like to come and listen, if you're listening to this before the 5th of July, do DM me on Instagram or send me a message. I do have a free promo ticket, so I have up to 20. I don't know how many have been used, but if you message me and let me know, you can always try. I imagine there should be quite a lot still left. As I'm recording this on Monday, the week before. Well, no, the week of. So yeah, and that gets you 1 day free access into the Autism and ADHD show. So you can either go on the Friday or the Saturday. Either one. I'm speaking on the Saturday, but obviously you don't have to come on the Saturday. But if you want to hear me speak, you kind of have to come on the Saturday. But yeah, so that's the really big things. I finished my first year of uni, which is absolutely mental, to say the least. Like, I literally said I was not going to make it to the end of my first year because I'm really dramatic like that. But I'm here, it's the longest I've ever stuck at education since year 10 of school. So that's pretty wild. And it's been very much a rocky road. It's been like it's been really giving the peaks and the troughs, but we got here. I handed in my Module 101 and Module 103 coursework. So on my course, you don't actually have to do any coursework. It's, a very different way of learning, but I really enjoy creating and just like into the microphone there. Not just like creating, but I like to like not just practically do my work, but I do like practical, but I also like kind of scrapbooking. So I kind of been able to put my own knowledge into scrapbooks, and it's been really fun. I'm also doing like some Canva like portfolio presentations as well, which I haven't finished yet, but I can do them for September, so that's good. So yeah, it's been some exciting things. And yeah, I've actually had like such a good mental state, and I think it has been because I've been so busy that it hasn't really allowed me the time to like think and ruminate and overthink. And obviously there's like positives and negatives of that, but like yesterday was my first day that I like kind of didn't have anything specifically to do, and I could definitely feel myself going like wanting to like spiral into like, what am I gonna do? But that was kind of when I went to sleep. I had a really, really long sleep, and this morning I'm feeling a lot more motivated to take on this summer and have a really good summer and have lots of fun and utilize this kind of time off in this more unstructured time, rather than it being like a massive fear and a risk and like, oh my god, what am I going to do? Like viewing it as like, this is a great time to like expand some of the things that I've wanted to do but maybe haven't had the time to do. So it's all about mindset, really. It's all about mindset. So yeah, I had to do a little pause because I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, so Beverly came down on Saturday and helped me tidy my room because, for those of you who don't know, this month has, in June, I've been doing basically an ADHD month, and I've been doing my dance challenge and I've been doing journal prompts. So the last journal prompt went up on my Instagram today, and I'm a little bit behind on my dance challenge, mainly because of the heat. Like, only I would choose a month where it is like ridiculously hot, like an actual heat wave, to do a dance challenge. Like, ridiculous. So I've got like 5 dances I need to catch up on, but to be honest with you, I'm like going to give myself grace. Like, I'm like, you know what, Hannah, it's okay. I'm going to do it slowly but surely and just like breathe. So yeah, but ADHD has been ADHDing a lot, and actually this past couple of months I've had a lot of realization in regards to like who I am, and again like who I am and kind of where like the struggles lie, and a lot of it like in terms of my complex PTSD and my ADHD. And I think that obviously I speak a lot about autism, because that's the one I was diagnosed with first. And therefore I went on kind of that real journey with my autism. And with my ADHD, I've gone on a bit, but not maybe as far in that journey. And I think a lot of the trauma masked a lot of the ADHD kind of struggles. And now that I'm able to realize like, what is my trauma, it has made my ADHD like be a bit more obvious and like a few more struggles within that. I think mainly a lot of it comes from the fact that for a long time, I was really, really, really anxious, like ridiculously anxious. I didn't do anything, I didn't go anywhere. And therefore my executive functioning skills didn't actually need to be that good. Like they didn't need to be that high. They didn't need to reflect my chronological age because I wasn't doing things that my chronological age would be doing. So therefore it didn't show as much. Whereas now that I'm realizing like what is my trauma and like I'm able to do more, want to do more, the fact that I can't actually function as a human being becomes more obvious. So very kindly, my mum came down on Saturday and helped me basically like gut my room and start again. As you can see, like there's a pile behind me. This is the pile that we didn't do, but the rest of it is a lot better. But this was like my realization of how massively my ADHD affects me, and with that like how that impacts like my mental health and like my ability to just like function within the everyday. And that is something that like this summer is a big part of what I want to kind of navigate. And it's never going to be perfect because there is no such thing as perfection. It's also never going to necessarily even be like equivalent to like someone my chronological age, but I do believe it can be better than it is. And that's kind of what I'm using this summer for. I think I've spent a lot of time, and I don't know whether anyone else can relate to, like I spent a lot of time waiting for the next thing, like as in like, oh, when I've done this, like that's when my life starts. Or when I do this, that's when my life starts. And it's like the realization that like this is life. Life is right here, right now. And I think that's a big thing of like, I kind of noticed it a bit with like some of the people I've been like around, partly in my course, but just like being like on the older end of young people and like kind of coming to the end of my like time as a young person. Because for those who don't know, like at 25 a lot of the young people opportunities end, and I'm very, very close to becoming 25. So it's been interesting as like I kind of look at maybe some of the younger people and like how they have such a similar mindset to I had when I was 18, 19, and how like that realization of like education, uni, work, life, that thing of like, I think in school we spend a lot of time like, it's almost like when you leave school you're like, it's kind of, I don't know how to like explain it, but like we're all waiting to leave school and then we kind of live. And I think that sometimes that mindset can be brought down into like uni or like life as like a young adult of like, oh, we're waiting for this to happen then your life starts. But no, like your life starts now. Like we're here, this doesn't get any better, doesn't get any different, like this is it. And I think this has like really helped. First of all, it's like a lot because you think, oh, like this is it, but also it does help in that thing of like, you know what, this is the moment. So like sometimes when I'm like overworking or like thinking, oh, do I want to do that, oh but it would be good, I think no, right, like this is your life. So like, is it like playing a part in your future? And that doesn't mean just like only doing like good things, like all, and not good things, like worky things, but it also means like, for example, I was sat here and the bank account is not banking. And I kind of was like, my friend is moving to another country in August and I didn't have the money. And then I did get some money in from some work that I've done. And then I was like, oh, but it's like a lot of money to like get the train down to hers. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to, because, well, actually, to I was like, I can't because I didn't actually have the money. But then some money came in and I was like, I found two trains that like were expensive, but like they were under £50. So I was like, well, technically I could afford it, like if I see, but like, and I was like, you know what? Like, obviously that's very much a luxury and probably not really a luxury I could actually be like sensibly affording, but we just won't talk about that part. But like, I was like, you know what? I can work later, I can get more money back, but I can't get this memory back with my friend because, she's moving to America. So actually, and like there were so many things I could do because like when I had to cancel, I was like, I'm really gutted that I have to cancel. Like I really was really upset. I was like really embarrassed because like, oh my god, I can't afford it. Like that's really like an embarrassing. Obviously, it's not an embarrassing thing at all. But then I was like, oh, at least I've got like so much work I need to do, so like I can do my work instead. And actually, maybe like that's a better, like maybe that's for the best. I can't afford to go because actually I should be like utilizing this time to like be productive. And then when my money came through, I was like, oh, so now I can technically afford it, as long as I don't spend any money when I'm there. And like maybe just to have like a few less costas for like 2 weeks, which depressing. And I was like, But then what about my work? And I was like, you know what, actually, in this part of your life, there's nothing you have to do right here, right now. So why not go and have a fun 2 days with your friend? Like, ultimately, and I know that's a really privileged position to be in, but like that was that thing of like, there's no point waiting until I'm successful, in inverted commas, watching the video. No point waiting, because that thing might never come, and in some cases it doesn't ever come because it's not actually a destination but a journey. Cringy as. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's my little update. So what are my plans for this summer? So I thought that part of this episode would be talking about summer. See, there is a link, a little segue there, of like, summer can be a really, really scary, daunting, and fearful time for a lot of people, especially young people who are trauma survivors, who maybe don't have the kind of typical family situation, and people who really struggle with unstructured time. And I think that it's really hard because for a lot of people, and like the kind of the vibe around like in institutions, I'm going to bring Ted's up here so he can sit and listen to the convo. A lot of people who like have like mainstream looking at ways kind of get so excited for the summer. It's like, oh my gosh, it's summer finally, with school's out, or like uni's out. And then for those of us who are kind of maybe don't have that same like narrative or mindset, can feel really like weird and like left out, and also a bit like worried because we can't really say how we're feeling. And I think that it's such a valid point in that, like, it's okay to admit that you don't want the summer holidays to come. I am definitely someone who doesn't want the summer holidays to come. Obviously within that, obviously I know that they have to come, and like in terms of wanting a break, obviously. And I think I'm now trying to reclaim the summer as like a time, my own time. See if Ted's can sit on my shoulder, on my head. He needs his own little seat, this guy. Oh no. Like time to like reclaim it. But I think it is really important to acknowledge that, like, for not everybody, going home isn't a safe space. For not everybody, having unstructured freedom is not what they view as like a rest and a relax. And like, having the support system of like an institution being removed from you is really, really hard. And that's not to say that it shouldn't happen, and it's not to say that like schools and unis have any, obviously everyone needs a break and staff need a break, and they're not your parents, they're not your support. But I think as like a fellow, young person who gets it, I really do get it. And it's really hard of like, for a lot of people, when they say like, have a great summer, off you go, like go and enjoy yourself, they got that in their mindset of like of their own situation, and them going back to their family, them going back to like loved ones. And when you're someone who doesn't have that, that's really frightening and scary, because you're like, right, I've just got 2 months of like free for all, like free reign of my brain to go absolutely wild, left, right, and center. And what am I going to do? What am I going to fill my time with? What am I going to like? How am I going to exist? And I think for me, I do have like my mom, and again, like, she is someone who, we had to work through a lot of stuff to kind of get into the position we are in now, and we are getting closer again, which is really nice. But again, because of where she lives, I can't go back there for my own safety and sanity. So therefore, that adds an additional barrier, because she has got to stay there, because she's got to look after people. But I don't want to go and put myself through being there because of how poorly it made me. So it's like a really hard kind of balancing act. And also just in terms of like the structure of like having a place to be and like having people to see, like, is really tricky. And I think that I just really wanted to acknowledge that on today's episode, because I think that it is something that's not spoken about. It is something that's so misunderstood, especially, when it comes to estrangement, and especially when it comes to people who it's not really clear cut as well. I think I was speaking to someone about this the other day, of how like, when people look at estrangement, they look at like someone who has no contact with any of their family, and that isn't always the case. And I think that, like, as people, we like to have clear cut answers. We like to have, this person has a family, this person doesn't have a family. We really struggle as a society to look at people where we can't fit them into either of those boxes, and where there isn't, a victim and a perpetrator, where there isn't like, a villain and a good guy. Like, we really struggle to be able to compartmentalize and understand that. And I think that does leave a lot of people like me in the situations where it's really confusing. I can kind of feel like we're unable to speak about our situation, because I don't ever want to say that I don't have a mom, because I do have a mom, and she's amazing, and she puts in like, so goes above and beyond, and always has gone above and beyond. And yes, we had some tricky times, and we had things where, it wasn't very healthy, but we are both working on that. Whereas, and so it's really tricky, but because of the situation, which I'm not going to go into details of because obviously it's not, appropriate, it doesn't mean that it's easy or simple. And like, there's so much that goes on behind closed doors that people don't know about. And it's really hard because I can't say that I have no family, because I do have a lot of family. And I can't say that those people don't necessarily support me, because I do have support, but it just looks in a very specific way. And I've got to be careful what I say, because obviously I don't know who's going to be listening to this. But I think that it is something of like, just in a general context of how we do need to look at like the way we kind of project our own understanding of family and support onto other people, and how, unless you've walked a day in someone's shoes, you've got no idea how or why they feel, think, or do the things that they do. So yeah, that's kind of like a tricky little nuance. But all of that aside, I am going to be mainly staying here over the summer because I would much prefer to be here. I'm going to be away for like 2 weeks because the bathroom's being done. But apart from that, I'm going to stay here because my mental health is so much better when I'm here. Like, if I went back to my family home for two months, I would not be surviving. We won't be doing that. But what do you do with all this like sudden free time that you've got? And this is where of course I'm bringing in the bullet journal, and I will put some pictures over on Instagram when I've actually done it. But I'm kind of doing a bit of like a life summer audit rehaul. Now let me pause this a sec while I get my phone up and tell you some of the categories that I'm using. So what I have decided is to plan myself a summer survival and growth plan. And this is what I've got written down so far. I'll obviously going to do it creatively because otherwise it'd be really boring. And this is going to be my way of saying that, like, no, it doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make the fact that I don't have this, the same kind of summer that maybe other people will be having, and like the dream of like, spending time with loved ones constantly. But I'm going to make the best of what I've got. This is where the summer revival plan comes in. So it's for July to August 2025, and it is neurodivergent, trauma informed, and it's all about kind of self-growth, work growth, personal growth, mental growth, just growth. It's kind of the plan is including like the things I've already got going on, but also like some of the focuses that I want to put in, because I really like a focus. So I've got some, by the way, I put this into ChatGPT, by the way, in case you're wondering, because my brain is not going to like compartmentalize this. So I've got a table to begin with that says category and description. So my categories I've got are creative commitments, admin and adulting, skill building, podcast and presence, and regulation and recovery. And within that, I've got my description of like some of the things I want to look at within those categories. And then I've got like July at a glance. So I'm going to do in my bullet journal kind of like the whole of July, putting in things I've got going on, and like when I've got specific like activities that I have to do, whereas like ones where I've got like more free time. And then I'm going to plan each week of like goals, and kind of just like not massively structured, like, because I'm not good with like, I'm say PDA, I have to do the opposite, but like giving myself a bit of like a guideline and a bit of guidance, because what I've really noticed about myself is that I procrastinate to the point that if I had, because I have so much to do that I panic, and that if I actually just got them done, I would actually have been further on, but because it looked like I had so much, I just don't do any of it. So this is kind of my plan anyway. And then we've got a deep dive into, so July's kind of deep dive is I've already got a lot of things happening. So it's about working around my commitments. Whereas in August, I'm completely free as a bird. So I kind of wanted to use that freedom, but to like kind of bring it more into like a system to like make life feel a bit more structured. And again, we've got like different areas that I can focus on, and like a lot of freedom and within that. And then kind of, so from my monthly into my like weekly format for, I think kind of both, but specifically August, of like days and like what I might like focus on a day, quite a broad, so that I don't like feel like I have to, but there are lots of within all like my broad categories, there's lots of different things that I could like choose within that. And then it's got like tools to help you stay on track, to kind of accountability check-in, feeling overwhelmed reset plan, and then kind of looking at like how all of that comes together. And so that's what I'm going to do in my bullet journal, is kind of create that is like a bit of a structure. And then I want to put in some fun stuff. I want to put in some cheap, hopefully free experiences, things, days with friends, with family, with myself mainly, to enjoy this time. And like I want to use this time as like a really great like opportunity, like, as someone like who I do work freelance, so hopefully I'll get some freelance work, but like
you know, I'm so lucky to be in a position where like I've got this summer of like more freedom, and like you're not going to have this in life usually. Like once, you know, I finish uni, that's it. Like, there's no more student loan. Like we've got to be working every day. So I think this is a really fantastic opportunity to utilize this time, and that is what I plan on doing. I plan on just using this kind of summer of like, and acknowledging the fact that it is going to be hard, it's going to feel weird, it's going to feel lonely, it's going to feel really isolating and horrible and nah. But using that and going, I know that, I know that's how it's going to feel, so what small steps can I do to improve and to survive and to grow and to just sit. And also thinking about like, you know, when I do go back in September and like everything's, you know, hit the ground running and everything's like crazy again, what strategies can I put in place that means life's more easy, more manageable in those busy moments, that I don't get as burnt out? I think this is a great time to use that, like in terms of like food, as in terms of fitness, in terms of like routines, in terms of like, you know, all those simple like executive functioning problems. And this is a really great opportunity to like be able to have a little bit of time, and rather than fighting the fact that I feel really lonely, it's almost embracing the loneliness and embracing the fact that I'm more alone, and kind of using that as like, okay, so like I can just be and be slow and be, you know, kind of thoughtful on the actions that I'm doing. And like that's my kind of plan of like this morning. You know, normally like having a day off like this today would have been like, I was already thinking I've got the whole day, I've got so many things I need to do, and then like I have no energy to do them because like it's like I'm forcing myself. Whereas, you know, I've actually taken today a bit slower, mainly because I decided that I wasn't going to do anything. Like I just, I'm going to give up kind of thing. And actually, in kind of taking things slowly and not rushing them and not panicking that I've got so much to do and just seeing what I can get done, I am actually like, I've achieved two big things off my to-do list that I've been putting off for like ages. And I think that that does just show how when we're forcing and winding ourselves up, we actually become less productive. And that if we just go, you know what, I'm going to see what I do today, and if that gets stuff done, great, and if that doesn't get stuff done, that's also fine. Like the two jobs that I've done today, and it's literally not even 12:30 in the morning, like at lunch, I had them on my, these were my two jobs for yesterday, only two things I said I needed to do, and I didn't do either of them. Whereas today, because I said I wasn't going to do anything, I've done them both before 12:30. So I think that like it is a mindset thing, and it's really hard, don't get me wrong, it's really hard, and Ted's think it's really hard, don't we, Ted's? Ted's become a little bit famous, you know, going around the place. Such a cutie patootie. But yeah, so that is a little catch up, a little summer plan, and I'm going to hopefully put some stuff over on Instagram of like what I actually do, maybe today, who knows, maybe not. And I would really, really appreciate if anybody had any specific topics they'd like me to speak about on the podcast, please do let me know. Also follow me over on my Instagram, Legally Detained, and follow the podcast at No Longer Legally Detained the podcast, and the Instagram is NLLD the podcast. Any interaction with my content, with my podcast, with any of that just really helps to like boost its reach, and all of that just really helps me, and also it helps kind of the message and the things that I want to get across. I want showing people that being unapologetically and authentically you is the most important thing you can do. And as someone who never thought I would make it past 18, I'm sat here doing this, you know, life does get better. So yeah, and with that, I think that's everything. Continue being your chaotically beautiful, authentic self, and I look forward to speaking to you all next week. Bye bye.